Quick note, I am adding this on the 27th of January, just a day after Outcome Memories big fallout, pretty much. I'm really late into editing, so I'm gonna have to rearrange everything accordingly. But yeah, this is just a quick note. This video had entered editing before the announcement was made, so please take that into consideration when watching the video. All information was current for the time being when I had first gathered this information. But either way, I hope you all enjoy it, and we will continue. Sonic from Outcome Memories. Sonic from Sonic.exe, The Disaster Eclipse. Who is better? Hopefully, we're gonna find that out today. To be clear, I'll be focusing mostly on their gameplay, so their abilities, cooldowns, how the characters feel to play, and how relatable it feels to canon Sonic to make this decision. I will be first showcasing their moves before giving my honest opinion over some gameplay of both Sonics. I'll start with a brief summary of each game. Being honest though, if you clicked on this, then you probably already know what these games are, so I'll just put a timestamp on screen so you can jump straight into the showcases. Oh my god. Sonic.exe, The Disaster Eclipse, was created by oaegates? Oaegates? I don't know how to say that. And is an extremely faithful recreation of its OG predecessor, Sonic.exe, The Disaster, created by Outlake. It's a one versus all game where your goal is to survive from the evil executable file by using characters' abilities unique to each character.
Relax.
What the fuck was that?
Outcome Memories is a game created by Sobi and is a fan game inspired by The Disaster as well. It's essentially the same gameplay style as Eclipse with its own few key differences. These differences include character abilities, how they work, maps, among other things. The main and most distinguishable difference is the last man standing scenario, also known as LMS. This is triggered when there is, one player left standing. They immediately gain 65 HP, and their unique LMS song starts playing. This also adds time to the counter depending, and applies buffs and nerfs to the Survivor and EXE respectfully. Overall, both games are cool. For the sake of time, and so I don't keep repeating the same word to describe the speed of sound, I'm going to be referring to either Sonic as either Eclipse or Outcome. I don't know, I just think it makes things easier and more distinguishable, I guess. Holy voice crack. Eclipse has 3 abilities, which he can use to support, distract, or stun the EXE. First up is his speed boost. You can use this ability to gain faster speeds for around 7 to 8 seconds. This is useful in chases, as you'll be faster than the EXE's base speed, and can help if you need to catch up to other teammates in case they need assistance. Also note that if you plan to revive somebody while using speed boosts, make sure you're spamming the revive button because you will have to manually revive teammates. You can also use speed boost to make a mad dash straight to the ring if you're ever too low on health. You also have to be careful though, as Eclipse will take a short second to pretty much charge up the speed boost before taking off and making everybody eat his dust. It should also be noted that Eclipse will gradually slow down as the ability comes to an end, and he can't use any other ability during it. Once speed boost is over, it'll enter a 30-second cooldown. The next ability is homing attack. This makes Eclipse hover in place for about 1 to 2 seconds to charge the attack, in which then you can aim at the EXE or their goons to start a stun chain. There will be a big magenta colored target that you can click over the EXE's position once the ability is ready to use. Note that you have only about 4 seconds to click on an enemy before the ability automatically cancels, and there's a certain distance that the EXE has to be in order to be stunned. Once you do, Eclipse will begin his stun chain, hitting the EXE up to 4 times if completed 100% successfully. The first stun happens once you click on the EXE, then it gets followed up by a random QTE for each stun after that. If you manage to hit all 4 stuns, the final one will send the EXE back in the opposite direction of where you last hit them. This can especially be useful to gain higher or further ground if you're lucky. It's possible to mess up the QTE if you're literally too slow or click the wrong button. Doing either during this ability will make the stun chain stop immediately, and Eclipse will drop down from his current position in the air. It's also possible for an EXE to block this move at any time, also stopping the chain immediately, so be sure to be quick with it if you want a longer stun. Once you've used the homing attack, it'll enter a 28-second cooldown. If you have speed boost available during the use of homing attack, it will place a 5-second cooldown on it. If speed boost isn't available after using homing attack, the cooldown isn't affected. The final ability is the spin dash. The windup for this is entirely in your hands as the player. This is because once activated, it'll give you a prompt to spam, usually the spacebar if you're using a keyboard. Doing so successfully will result in a fast spin dash. Eclipse does not have invincibility while you're winding up, so be sure to activate this ability at a safe enough distance, and not up close or in chase. If you try to spin dash, but I don't know, kind of do it, I guess. I don't know. But if you do not complete the spam prompt entirely, you will still be able to spin dash, but you will be much slower depending on how much you spammed the prompt. No matter how slow or fast you spin dash, it will not affect the cooldown time, which is 32 seconds. Using spin dash while speed boost is available will put a 5-second cooldown on it, and using it while speed boost isn't available will not affect the cooldown, similar to the homing attack. This is all for Eclipse. On to outcome. Outcome section will be split into 2 parts, regular round gameplay and LMS gameplay, as outcomes moves change depending on the situation. First is regular round gameplay. Outcome has 2 abilities compared to the 3 that Eclipse has. These work similarly to Eclipse, but they also have their own differences. First is drop dash. It's basically spin dash, but with some twists. Once activated, Outcome will immediately jump and curl into his absolutely iconic pinball form, and move in the direction where your camera is facing. This ability makes Outcome faster in movement and is the only stun move that he has. While using this ability, you can stun the EXE up to 3 times. If you manage to hit all 3 stuns, the final stun will send Outcome away from the EXE, while also ragdolling them. Each successful stun gives you 10 dodge, as shown on your dodge meter, for a max total of 50. Dodge is a passive that Outcome always has. Think of it as 50 extra health that you can slowly regain depending on your stun game. This passive allows you to, dodge most attack, preserving your health at the cost of it. Once you've run out of dodge, you'll take damage as normal. Dodge is best shown to be most effective against 2011X's charge, Colossus's charge, and Tripwire's laser. Anyways, back to the drop dash. It's also possible to stun EXE once or twice, using the rest of your drop dash to make a break for it. This is usually recommended, as if you stun the EXE 3 times, it will give them a longer stun, but in turn the drop dash ends immediately, and only leaves you at a set distance compared to if you stun twice and use the rest to dip. When Outcome uses drop dash, he is invincible to most attacks. Not all, but most. You can also revive teammates during drop dash if you manage your movements properly, which can come in handy if you're low on health but need to secure the revive. Outcome's drop dash is also a move that can stack on top of other stuns, so it's the perfect way to secure some dodge without having to rely purely on your own skill to keep the EXE in place. Once drop dash is finished, it will enter a 26-second cooldown if you hit the EXE 1 or 2 times, or it'll enter a 34-second cooldown for all 3 hits. Regarding his next move, Peel Out, no matter if it's available or in cooldown, once Drop Dash finishes, it adds 5 seconds to the wait time before you can use it. Peel Out is probably the fastest in terms of movement in the game. Once activated, Outcome will start running in place for about 3 seconds before absolutely tearing up the ground beneath him with speed in whatever direction you have your camera for about 7 seconds. Be careful when using this move though, as he doesn't have invincibility frames when charging up. This ability is best used to gain distance between yourself and the EXE, as well as going in and snatching your friends from danger. When using Peel Out, if you run over another survivor, they will automatically be picked up. They can still use their abilities and can jump off at any time. You can only carry one survivor at a time though, so if you run into another survivor, the first survivor will be dropped right then and there, and the second will be carried instead. This process can happen as many times as possible until Peel Out ends. If a survivor is down and you run into them using Peel Out, they will automatically be picked up and revived, traveling with you until either Peel Out ends, they jump off, or another survivor gets picked up. This ability can be difficult to maneuver, especially on maps like X's Castle, where there's dips and staircases, making your movements erratic and sometimes wasting more time. This next note goes for all players of Outcome memories, not just Sonic ones. Outcome's Peel Out cooldown is initially 24 seconds if ended with a teammate carried, but it will increase to a total of 39 seconds if a carried survivor drops out from it earlier. This long cooldown also applies if you use Peel Out without ever picking anyone up, so please be aware of that when using it. When using Peel Out, also note that Outcome cannot pick up Eggman or Metal for obvious reasons. And if you want to revive Eggman during Peel Out, you have to be absolutely godlike with Outcome's movements, like Osu player type movements. As stated at the start, when Outcome is the last man standing, he automatically gains 65 HP. This goes for all survivors that enter LMS. The abilities themselves don't really change during LMS, but the cooldowns do. For example, Outcome's Drop Dash cooldown reduces from 34 seconds to 20 for 3 hits, and from 26 seconds to 18 for 1 or 2 hits given to the EXE. Peel Out's cooldown remains the same at 39 seconds. However, to balance it out, using Drop Dash will no longer add a cooldown to Peel Out right after. This means that if you've used Drop Dash, you can then immediately use Peel Out if you wanted to. And if Peel Out isn't available when you use Drop Dash, it will no longer add 5 seconds to the wait time when it's over. You have to practice and learn Outcome though, because he has a very distinct passive trait that honestly makes his LMS one of the hardest to actually win in the entire game. And that passive is Guilt. Guilt automatically activates once Outcome becomes the last man standing. Normally, when most of the other survivors enter LMS, they gain a 50% damage resistance to the EXE, along with their own respective buffs, making it more fair. However, with Outcome, he receives 25% more damage. Yeah. That paired with the fact that Outcome's LMS is the longest of the survivors makes this a very not good time. Despite this, winning with Sonic Outcome is possible, just very hard, especially when going against pro EXEs. With that, I'm gonna finally move on to my opinions and who I think is better, I guess.
I know someone better. Colossus, hit that shit!
I've played quite a few rounds with both Eclipse and Outcome, and even though they are similar in gameplay, they do differ much more noticeably than what people might realize. These two characters are not for those who like to stand on the sidelines to assist. Both Sonics are in-your-face, hit-and-run survivors that stand out by helping their teammates and distracting the EXEs. I'll start with Eclipse. I believe that he's a strong character overall. He has 2 stun abilities as well as an escape ability. He was really fun to learn and play, and it felt more of like a casual gameplay experience with him. To me, it fulfilled everything a Sonic survivor should be with his abilities. The cooldowns felt fair given the pace of the game and how versatile he is. The range and hitboxes are a lot bigger than it may seem, so it felt easier to land stuns, and damn did it feel rewarding as well. The stuns felt heavy, impactful, and stylish, absolutely perfect for the main protagonist. Sonic Eclipse is a very smooth character to play. Some gripes I have, though, is how erratic the spin dash can be. If you've noticed in gameplays, once he takes off, the camera tends to sway side to side, making it a bit disorienting to control. Despite this, the spin dash is extremely reliable. You can make relatively sharp turns and movements with it, making it harder for the EXE to know your next move. On the other hand, you can just straight up go around them like they have rabies or something and completely miss the stun. With homing attack, the main issue is merely predicting where the EXE will go and or how your team stuns them. Sometimes your team can bring them away from you, too far to stun. Other times, you can have smart EXEs that will try to circle you, making it harder for you to actually start the stun chain. This is mostly a skill issue though, one that I'm still trying to get better at. Eclipse's abilities are best used in the vicinity close to the EXE, but not directly in chase, as they all have a short timer before using, which isn't a lot, but can make all the difference depending on your situation at the time. Sonic outcome. I really enjoy how he plays in the game, and I have to say that my favorite part about him is his passives. Yes, that includes guilt, but not for the reasons that you think. I find the dodge and guilt passive to be incredibly lore accurate to how Sonic would be, and it makes the inclusion of them as in-game mechanics that much cooler, in my opinion. He is definitely harder gameplay-wise, especially compared to Eclipse, but when you play him correctly, it makes rounds a lot more exhilarating, and a lot more rewarding as well. My gripes on outcome mostly revolve around his LMS gameplay. Like, dude, your LMS song is peak, but Jesus Christ, it's one of the longest on top of your god-awful nerf. Please choose a struggle. Though I complain about it, I can see why these struggles are reserved for Sonic outcome. He is the hero, a symbol of persistence, fight, and endless determination. It's not the easiest to main him, but once you get it right, you really do feel unstoppable. Like you yourself are a hero. His peel out is fun to use. I like how fast it is. It just feels extremely slippery, especially on maps like Green Hill, where the tiniest bump either gives Sonic a free lobotomy or just sends him flying into the sky going God knows where. I'm not too crazy about his drop dash, only because the hitboxes can be so incredibly small, you go right through the EXE. It's actually happened to me a couple of times already. Your turns are much slower and predictable, making it easy for an EXE to evade you as well. Other than that, I have no complaints. He is the fastest character in the game, obviously, and his moves perfectly represent that. He can be a great support and should be played as such. In my honest opinion, I believe that the better one of the two is Sonic Outcome. I believe he triumphs over Sonic Eclipse for these reasons. 1. He feels more lore accurate to how Sonic really is. 2. His moves have a deeper and more complex relation to his character overall. And 3, and I feel like this is the most important one, he's a hard character to master, but he is so much more rewarding. And that's extremely important when it comes to a game like this. I'm basically saying that I can see Canon Sonic more in outcome memories. Being able to pick up his friends to revive or save them, doing drive-bys with Tails, being able to dodge some attacks because of his speed, getting heavily nerfed during Last Man Standing, it all represents Sonic in such a cinematic and special way. For a Sonic fan, I'm sure they can connect more with him because I surely do. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that Eclipse is inferior, by the way. These are just my opinions based on the times I've played both games. If you're looking for a more casual, slower paced way to get into these types of games, I definitely recommend Sonic Eclipse. He requires more reaction time on your keyboard/screen for his attacks as well as careful timing in order to use them. However, if you want a more intense experience, I recommend Sonic Outcome. He is not the easiest character to use, and the game overall is less forgiving than the Disaster Eclipse. He requires quick reaction time as well, but more so to his environment, such as his teammates or EXEs, as opposed to yourself trying to use his abilities.
500 cigarettes.
Please remember that Sonic in both Outcome Memories and the Disaster Eclipse is supposed to be played as a hero. You're not always going to live, and that's part of the sacrifice. Sonic gets his strength from his friends, determination, and courage, even when it all seems hopeless. So if you plan to ever main him, remember that, and let that be your drive to be a better Sonic player. I'm still learning that bit myself, but I plan to get better, one round at a time. We're not perfect, and we have our ups and downs. What matters is that we keep moving forward, no matter what lies ahead. Take the advice or don't. I'm not your dad. Anyways, I hope this was entertaining enough, I guess. I hope you learned something. If you didn't, well, don't blink. Goodbye. Oh my god. You know what? Why is this actually so hard? It's almost been a minute. Just start reading. Just start reading. Just pretend this is a project for school. This is totally fine. This is literally a skill issue. Okay. I can't read. Nobody is here but me. Nobody is here but me. Nobody is here but me. Just lock in. Just read it. Just read it. Okay. Without Sonic Hedgehog, you would be a side.